Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to another Drama is Life, where we talk about what was, what is currently going on, and what could be happening in the future if we don't change the stigma happening around mental health. So, hello. Good evening. Happy October. Happy Monday. All those things. My name is Theresa White, and I am the CEO and founder of In Time Creative Counseling Services, located in Terre Haute, Indiana, where we offer drama therapy, which is an expressive arts embodied modality. We offer individual therapy, group therapy, family counseling for adolescents, adults, and families. So if you want information about our services, you can reach out during our office hours. Our website is www.intimeccs.com, and we will be happy to talk to you about our services. But tonight, that's not our conversation. We definitely want you to reach out for our services. But tonight we are having a topic conversation with the theme that we've been on all of October, Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And as I talked about in the beginning of the month, we had a conversation with regards to domestic violence and what that really is, and who can experience domestic violence or be a victim, what we call a victim of domestic violence. So tonight we're having a conversation about men. Do men experience partner abuse? So I want you to come in and feel free as we talk about this. This is not to replace a therapy session, so let me put that disclaimer out there. This is information purposes, and hopefully you can share with others and be willing to give them that information as well. So we're going to also, or I'm going to also give resources. So if there anyone that you may know that may be experiencing this, feel free to share the information that I give at the end of the live. So you want to definitely stay tuned for our resources that we're going to give for those that they may be experiencing partner. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. So hello everyone, on Clubhouse as well. So you can definitely reach out to us or find out our business information if you want to ask more direct personal questions that you may not want to put in the chat for other ones to see. So let's review really quick when we talk about domestic violence and what that is. So domestic means home. Again, the place that you live, that very simply, it means home. So when we talk about violence that's happening, physical violence, particularly is what people were talking about, violence that's happening at home. So with regards to violence that's happening at home, last week, sorry, I'm a therapist and I'm used to saying sessions, sorry. Last podcast or live that we had a conversation about is we asked the question, or I asked the question, how many of you would let me walk up to you and just slap you? And I didn't get anybody saying me. I didn't get anybody raising their hand or identifying themselves. And that was not meant to be sarcastic or a joke, but it's just was to show that generally that's not something that people may allow on our first meet, on our second meet, on our third or fourth meet, right? So when we talk about domestic violence, this is a pattern. There is a pattern of abuse, but tonight we're going to talk about with regards to males. And I say that because males are, I know we talk about our women a lot, and you see movies about women. So if you know some movies, so let me think, there's some movies that are Enough. I know with Jennifer Lopez is one. Of course, Tina Turner and sharing her story of domestic violence with her um, husband or ex-husband. Um, and those are the two that I can think of at the moment. If you have others, please feel free to comment and add those in the chat. I definitely welcome um, more information and more movies that I can't think of at the top of my head. But with that, I think it's interesting and I think it's important with this topic for us to discuss it again because Drama is Life is here to talk about the dramas that's happening in our lives, the conflict is really what drama entails, the conflict that's happening in our lives and how do we deal with it, right? And so this is a conflict that is maybe happening in people's lives and people are not talking about it. People are not talking about males being victims of domestic violence. And I'm going to tell you that I have had clients or working with people. I don't really call them clients, but I've been working with people, males, that have been the victim of partner abuse. I want to define intimate partner violence because sometimes, we hear domestic violence, but I want to particularly focus on relationship abuse, intimate partner violence. And again, we talk about domestic being home or family. So if people consider their partner family. So I want to define that for you. So intimate partner violence, or what we call IPV, is abuse or aggression that occurs in a close relationship, intimate partner, right? And refers to both current and former spouses and dating partners. So, intimate partner violence can be physical, sexual, stalking, or psychological aggression. And so, we're going to kind of hit on all of those with it being Domestic Violence Awareness Month, with the focus being males as not the perpetrators, but the victims. Okay, so we know physical violence is when a person gets hurt or tries to hurt a partner by hitting, kicking, using any type of physical force, throwing things, punches, um, pokes, stabs, those types of things. Absolutely, absolutely, Yvette. I see that. Yes, they do. Abuse is experienced with both males and females. Now, again, we say that and we know it in our minds. We know it mentally, and we can say, well, of course, it most likely, but I'm going to tell you from experience as the provider or practitioner that's worked with males and still work with males that identify as being the victim of intimate partner violence. It's not something that people really take in. As I say, as they should. We wish they would take it in, but not very many people take it in and really do something about it. Right? We may again have the head knowledge that yes, men are victims of intimate partner violence, but it's not something that is really um, accepted or talked about. So we know that women, about 1 in 4 women, I'm gonna give you some statistics from a few years ago, and anytime I give you a statistic, I want you to be aware that it is from years ago. Statistics are always once you hear them, it's always late. So they're always updating them for the years to come. So I want to give you a few of some of the statistics from a few years ago. So about 1 in 4 women have experienced contact, physical violence, sexual violence, stalking, intimate partner violence during their lifetime, and reported the intimate partner related. And that's 1 in 4 women. Nearly 1 in 10 men have experienced sexual violence, physical violence, stalking by intimate partner during their lifetime, and reported some form of intimate partner violence related impact. 1 in 10 men. Now, with the comparison to 1 in 4, that does not sound like a lot. And we've talked about this before on some previous lives. So if you haven't joined the conversation before, welcome. But I want you to hear the difference. 1 in 4, 1 in 10. Now, if I lined up 10 women and lined up 10 men. At least one of them has reported that they've been a victim. Males. One of the males have reported that they've been a victim of violence in their intimate partner or by an intimate partner, whether that's been sexual violence, physical violence, stalking, or has some related or some impact with regards to intimate partner violence. Now, with the same 10 or with 10 women, at least two of them have reported. Now, the reason why the numbers are different is not because there's more women being abused than males. There's just more women reporting it, right? There's more women reporting it. Intimate partner violence is more common than we realize. And we think, well, that may not be a problem in my family or people that I know. I don't know anybody that's ever had that problem. They probably are not telling you. And they probably, with all the people that you know, and we've heard about the 3 degrees of separation. If you don't know anyone that's ever experienced, a male that's ever experienced being sexually, physically abused or emotionally abused by an intimate partner, there may be more in your family or friendship circle or colleague circle than you realize. So when I say that it is common, unfortunately it is, and it affects millions of people in the United States. So the data that I'm giving you is from the CDC, National Intimate Partner and Sexual Violence Surveys. Now, surveys. So we know that surveys, are not always showing everything about it. But I want you to hear that over 43 out of the comparison of 43 million women experience psychological aggression by intimate partner, 38 million men. Now, you may have seen videos where you see a woman who is saying, well, no, you're not, and they're showing women that's behaving very erratic and they're slashing tires or saying, you ain't gonna never do A, B, and C and leave me or whatever, right? And with social media being an issue or being I won't say an issue, with being a very prevalent medium today, you can see a lot of things. I've seen videos, and I'm not going to go back to it, but there was a video of a young man. That's a very disturbing video. You may have seen it. And I've seen it on Facebook and Instagram, which I know that they kind of intertwine. But there's a young man, and he's on the video, African American young man. I don't know what his age is, but he looks pretty young, like he's in his 20s. And he's standing there with a video, and a song is playing in the background, and his partner, which I suspect is his partner, comes up and she's smacking him and fist punching him in the face, and he has this camera or phone in front of him, and people are commenting, like there's thousands of comments of again, if he would hit her back, what the consequences would be, and she's continually attacking him, pushing him, smacking him, and he's trying to push her off while he's still recording the entire time. And she's fussing and saying things, in the background. And I'm just like, as a practitioner, as someone that works with trauma, this is a problem, you all, because I look at this and I am thinking, this is his cry for help, right? Like, that's what I'm thinking. Again, I don't know them personally, but to see something like that is very disturbing, because if we flipped it and it was a woman holding a camera and a man is punching her in the face, or there would be people asking in the comments, where's your address? We're sending the police right now. But for this male, there's more jokes in his comments than there is concern. There's a couple of men. I do see some of the men that commented and said, this is not okay. This is what I'm talking about. Men, this man is trying to reach out for help, and people are responding, making jokes and things like that. And I will say that's the reason why the numbers are so different. From 43 million women. Now, again, statistics wise, it says women are more likely to be a victim of domestic violence or intimate partner violence than men are. But the truth of the matter is we don't know, because there's a lot of men who do not report it. There's a lot of men who would never put the phone up. So I can't even imagine how long he's been experiencing this type of violence in his relationship. And I think it was babies around him or young children, which is one of the other concerns that I had when I'm like coming across this video. I think somebody shared it with me. I can't remember how I came across it now. But I was like, again, and so I'm reaching out like, if you need assistance, please reach out, blah, blah, blah. This is not funny. It's not anything joking about this video. The man looks very I don't say distraught, but absolutely. And somebody commented about him looking like he wanted to cry. I'm like, well, somebody's punching me in my face over and over again. I might be crying as well. Again, but there's so many jokes. And so when we say that, men see the response that we give to their pain being blasted on social media, right? Or being put out on social media. And so if the response of the society or social response to um, them being abused or having these issues or these concerns in their relationship, and they're trying to reach out for help, and people are making jokes about it, imagine how many other men are going to say, this is why we don't tell anybody. And so when I say do men, so the answer, of course, is yes, males do experience. We have the data to prove it. But I want to share a personal story, and I'll say personal, not my story, but a personal experience that I've had with a client. And again, trying to work with them. And he gave a very hard truth to the fact that the reason why males don't report, right? Or why a lot of males may not report. Um, and so some of the reasons why a male may not report that they have been abused or are being abused, he explained, because you asked the question as a practitioner, well, have you reached, do you want to press charges? So he's an adult, so I can't make him. Do you want to press charges? Do you want to reach out to the authorities and let them know that this is your wife or woman, partner is doing this to you? And he's responded to me and said, I have called the police several times, or neighbors, family members have called the police. And when the police comes out, he said in one instance he was laughed at, which that made my skin crawl. Like I was on fire to hear that. And again, I'm not trying to discredit any law enforcement, but he said whoever the police officer was that came out laughed when he told him that his wife or partner had been physically hitting him. And he's calling the police because he's trying to get some help so that because of course, if he hit her, it's going to be a very different situation, right? And one time he said he called, same relationship, and then it was she stated that he hit her. So the police was just telling him, "Yeah, you stay in a different place tonight, right? You go stay somewhere else." So he said the many times that he has responded or reached out to the authorities to get help has not been a very positive experience for him. He didn't walk away feeling like he was supported um, in getting the assistance that he needed. And he also stated that one of the situations or one time that he called and reached out for help, they both were arrested. And maybe because, again, the officer couldn't figure out who was the perpetrator, or maybe it was just very, again, hard to believe for this particular officer that he was the victim. And so I'm going to take you both in. When generally, when a woman calls, and again, I work with women, when they call in, hey, my partner is abusing me, which is not an easy phone call. So let me first say that anyone who's in an abusive relationship or that is experiencing intimate partner violence, it's not easy. The call is not easy to make. To reach out and say, please show up at my house, where the partner will know that I called you or somebody called. So that's, I won't say red flag, but that's a very hard thing to do because there can be backlash for that if they don't get the assistance, if they're not removed out of the relationship or getting the long-term help that they need. And so there's a lot of barriers. I have had I'm actually explaining, I'm talking about this one person. I've had multiple males, but this one person said he's talked to family and friends, and some of them have laughed at him because of maybe her size to his size. And there's no way that that's happening. You better, put her in her place, or, making jokes about the person being abused, about this male being abused. And so then he laughed after they laughed, is what his report was. Yeah, yeah, she just, and then fill in the blank. She's tripping or she's just mad today, whatever that they may have said. But because they were not validated in their experience, they were not validated in their report from loved ones or their support people, or should have been support people, then the person shuts down and doesn't report it. And they continue to experience the abuse. This really bothered me because I want to share. There is a story, and I can't think of the young lady's name. I think her name is Christian. Um, and it was a biracial relationship, and she's a very, and it's in the news, so it's not like it's a secret, about this man, this African American man who was also pretty popular, had his own business, and she was a social influencer, and him and her began to date. And his story ended, literally ended because it ended in murder. And they are still, I think, investigating it now. She's arrested and so forth because the family wouldn't let it go. And when you read the story, it really states that, she cried self defense initially. And they just believed. Nobody investigated initially until the family began to push to the lawyers, like, no, and then friends begin to say, like, yes, she was always the aggressor because she reported that he was the aggressor. And it took family or friends and loved ones who had been around them throughout their relationship and how tumultuous it was to report that he was not the aggressor. She was always the aggressor, hitting him. And there's a video of her punching him and hitting him over and over again in an elevator. As part of the investigation, it's online. And so again, it's like, and he's just moving around and trying to move and pushing her away. And, that he walks out the elevator, she's chasing him out the elevator and still hitting him. And it's like, and again, he's in size, he's bigger. And so people, as was stated in some of the reports, probably believe that, yes, there's no way that this slimmer, younger, or smaller young lady is hurting this bigger man. And a lot of times it's exactly how now I talk to the males that I work with that feel like, yeah, if I'm bigger than her, people are going to laugh at me because they're going to say, there's no way you're letting. Those are the terms people have used. There's no way you're letting this little bitty woman or man, whoever you may be with, there's no way you're letting your smaller partner do A, B, and C. And so that precludes, or it gives a clue that you want me to what? Hit them back so that and again, so that I can go to jail. And there is also a real truth, an issue with the fact that biracial also complicates the issue because, and a lot of males that I've talked to that are African American do feel like if I'm being abused by a partner who is of lighter complexion or that's Caucasian, if the story was flipped, it'd be very easy. And somebody said that in this report that I was talking about just now, that if he actually was the perpetrator, and how easy it would be to believe that, and then he would immediately go to jail. They would have had no problem taking him to jail. But this young lady was walking free for 4 months. They never investigated. He's lying literally dead on her floor in a puddle of blood, stabbed. And she said it was self-defense and nobody investigated. She just got to go free for 4 months. And so the family pushed back. Thank God the family pushed back to get a lawyer to get justice. These are the kind of situations that people think, I can't make this up. But it's so disheartening because there is so many instances that males are victims of abuse and it's overlooked. It's not seen as an issue. It's not reported because they don't feel supported. And that's a problem that we as a society have to change. Someone tells you, I don't care what their size, age, they tell you that their partner is abusing them, believe them and offer support. The same way you would do if it was a child, if it was a woman being abused. Offer support because a victim, whether their size, their gender doesn't make a difference. A victim of abuse is a victim of abuse, and they deserve to get treated with respect as a human being first and foremost, and they deserve to also be supported and get the help that they need when they're reaching out for help. Now, again, I want to also say one of the hard places it is to be a practitioner that's working in abuse or that's working with trauma is that I can't report for a person that's over the age of 18. If you're an adult, you're an adult. And so you have a right to not press charges, but people can definitely encourage you to get help. And we're here to help. And there is a lot of steps. So we're not saying like, okay, it's easy just to call for help and then, I got to go back home to this partner. And I've heard it because if you talk about the young people who are getting bullied, people typically can see, when it comes to bullying, um, that maybe a boy is bullying another boy, a boy is bullying a girl is bullying another girl, but they have a hard time accepting the fact that a girl bullies boys. But again, it's happening, and that pattern of behavior can develop into a older or an intimate relationship. So teenagers are one of the main ones that people will overlook, and people overlook the fact that their teenage boys may be getting smacked and punched, and people are like, "Don't be letting her," and they laugh it off. Friends may laugh it off, like your girlfriend crazy. Okay, your girlfriend's abusive, and you deserve better than that. The same way you wouldn't allow this male to be punching on his girlfriend, why do we allow it to happen to males? And so I say that because again, some of the things that people hear, dude, she's 5'2". How could she hurt you? What? It doesn't matter what the size again of a person is. Anybody can be, I mean, of course, with reason. We're not talking about infants or things like that, but people can be abusive smacking, yelling at you in public. And I want to just share a few of um, the toxic behaviors because we talked a little bit about this last week with regards to what to notice. But the partner has a short temper. They act jealous over not just people, but all kind of other things, right? Jealous if you going places and they don't go with you. And it's usually a guilt trip that people will give you. You don't go without me? And then or may tell you, yeah, sure, it's okay. But then when you get home, it's like the silent treatment. I'm gonna make you pay for the fact that you went without me. Those kind of behaviors are toxic, and that's intimate partner violence because they can be psychological damage that's happening. They tell you or suggest what you should wear, and not suggest as in like, baby, I think you would look good in red. That's a healthy response. I think you would look good in this dress right here, so I bought it for you. No, no, no. The suggest is more like, you wearing that shirt? Mm. Well, honey, you don't like this shirt? What's wrong, baby? You don't like? Well, I mean, no, not really. I think you need to change. I suggest you change. And the suggestion is more of an intimate, and you can hear it in the tone, the threat. I suggest you change. And I say that because we had, um, the dynamic, the power dynamic. When you hear those words, the words itself may not be a threat, but the tone it's used in, the other partner very clearly can read, let me go change. So they're not just telling you, well, I just suggested, and then they pull back as if it was an innocent suggestion when they knew exactly what they were doing. They was intimidating that if you didn't suggest or that if you didn't change, there was going to be consequences and they were going to be not so pleasant for you. They tell you when you have to be home. And I say that because in teenage relationships, because I say this because I think some teenagers are not ready for romantic partners. But anyway, just because of the immaturity emotionally. But it's like, oh, I text you. You look at your phone. Why didn't you respond? Well, I was at work. Okay, but you couldn't. And it's like they try to guilt you when you're being a responsible person. Well, you wasn't home at 9:30 like you said you was going to be. Well, yeah, I got there at 9:45 because I had to train. People didn't tell me about the trains. But I mean, it's like they're timing you. They're watching time. You got to have your app 360 on so they can track where you're going. That's not healthy. Because I know married people who don't have tracking their partners. I can just call and say, "Hey, I'm at the store." I'm not tracking you 24/7. Typically, that's what I have to do with a child that I'm trying to make sure that they're safe, or a teenager that I'm trying to make sure that I know where my child is. I don't should have to track an adult that's a capable, mature adult. So again, when that's a red flag, that your app ain't on, why you turn it off? It, um, again, that can be a toxic behavior. Put you down a lot. And I would say the main thing is embarrassing you in front of others, yelling at you, degrading you, when you don't want to go anywhere in public with them. These are just some warning signs that you may be in a very toxic relationship. And if your partner is doing those kind of things to you, it's time to reevaluate your relationship. And I hope that you will be willing to do so. I know this can go on, and I don't want it to do that. But if you don't hear anything else, please, please, please take it seriously when a male, I don't care if he's 12, 13, 14, whatever, adolescent to adult, when they're telling you that they're being stalked, and it's not ha ha ha, she must really like you. No, the same way when we told little girls that a boy punching her or pushing her down, that he likes her. What kind of message is that sending to the person? Oh, so love says that you can punch me. Love says that's love. That's not love, right? Not at all. That's pain. It's not the same thing. And so you need to, if a person likes you, they don't punch you to tell you they like you. I don't care if they're 5, 15, 25, 35. They don't punch you to tell you I like. They just gonna say I like you. That's a pretty dress you have on, Theresa. I love, I really would like to get to know you and date you, whatever, right? Like you don't go and hit somebody. And we need to be teaching our young boys if that's what they're doing, even any young person, if that's what they're doing, that needs to be corrected immediately. It's a very dangerous pattern to begin to excuse. Oh, ha ha ha, this must mean that he likes you. Well, I don't like that, so I don't like him. That's a one red flag. No, absolutely not. Now, again, we could say, well, they're immature children, but they're learning that from somebody. That it's okay to punch somebody. That's because I like. No, if you like a young lady, you don't put your hands on her. You can, we used to write notes in class or whatever. You can go just tell her, or you can just smile at her. You don't put your hands on her. Same way, vice versa. If you like a young man, you don't go punching. That's not how you communicate like. It's not how you communicate interest. That's not a healthy way of communicating that. Let me say that. So again, if our young people, young or adult, doesn't matter what their age is, are telling you that their partner is stalking them, don't laugh it off. Ah, they must really like you. That's not cute. It's not cute. It's very scary. And I've had family members experiencing this. It's very scary to be a victim of stalking because you don't know what the person's capable of or what they're going to do. They will track you down and follow you and do those kind of things. People are scared for their lives, and people have been murdered that's been victims of intimate partner violence, stalking, and all the above. So yes, we want them to get help, but we also know that we are trained professionals to be able to help with this type of abuse, because domestic violence is a very different type of violence. And I won't say like it's bigger or that kind of thing, but it's a very different type of treatment to help someone who's a victim of domestic violence or intimate partner violence or stalking. And as the list goes on that I gave you earlier. So if you know someone and they really are wanting to get help, have them reach out. Um, and they may have to do so with a support person next to them if they have people around them anymore. Because typically one of the main patterns you will see in someone who's abusive is that they isolate the person. They make it where you ain't got no friends. They isolate you from your friends. They mad at you because you're hanging out with your friends, and then all of a sudden you don't have any friends anymore. You're hanging out with your family too much. Now you don't talk to your family anymore. They begin to pull you away to only be with them. That's that's number one red flag, because they can isolate you so that they can begin to abuse you and you have no way out, you have no support except them. That's how an abusive person likes it. They like it where you only depend on them and them alone. Absolutely not. So I know, there's so much to this, but I just want to put it out there. Please, if you see it online, the same way you would show support, reach out, back channel, whatever you would do, offer support to that person. It's not funny. Don't laugh it off, and make it, haha, she 5'2" and you 6'3". It doesn't matter. Abuse is abuse, and it needs to be stopped. It needs to be taken care of, and our males need to be supported. They need to be heard. They need to be heard. They need to be heard. They need to be validated. They need to be told that they are believed, and it not be made a joke. So that's my 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cents um, on males experiencing partner abuse, because absolutely they do. If you have any questions, you want to again reach out to me. You are definitely welcome to ask those questions or private message if you have any questions you don't want to put on the open chat. Thank you so much for being here with me on tonight. Hope that you will join other Drama is Life conversations as we continue to close out next week with Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Have a great week, you all. Stay safe.